Well, speaking of families getting together, a great event coming up this weekend will involve families and individuals looking just to get out and enjoy a nice ride through the valley that changed the world on the OC&T Railroad. And here to talk about that and all the other things coming up is Mr. Todd Crago from the OC&T Railroad. Todd, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Luke. How are you doing?
I'm great. How about you?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Hippity hoppity.
Hippity hoppity. Yep, here comes the Easter Bunny.
And the Easter Bunny will be on the train. The problem is it's been sold out for some time.
Yeah,
so
it's been sold out probably since we released the schedule. Shortly after that, it was sold out.
Which is fantastic. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
So somebody asked me, I think it was after last interview, they said, we get confused because you'll say like the season starts in June, but there's all these events that are happening. It feels like the season starts like now.
Yeah, it is confusing. The regular season starts in June, but we do special events early. We start special events in the spring with Easter's typically our first event of the season. In April, we even have a wine tasting coming up, first Friday in April.
That's next week.
Yeah, the 5th.
Wow.
Star Hill Winery out of Kerwinsville is coming out to host that one. So, yeah, we try to, we start with Easter and we try to fill special events in until our regular season, which actually starts in June.
But it just feels like there's something going on all the time, which is great.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking like I'll have to wait till June to ride, well, no, there's a lot of special events that you can get involved in.
Exactly. Like I said, April we got the wine train. In May we have 2 wine trains. We have the Mother's Day train, and then we also have a murder mystery train. Of course, that's sold out already. So if you're looking at murder mystery, it's now June before the first one's available. But.
Wow. Well, let's maybe dive into some of this stuff. One was it the other day driving around and saw that some crews were just checking tracks and getting things cleaned up.
Yeah, they actually do that on a regular basis. It's not just for us, of course. With the freight, they have to make sure that track is all in shape and everything like that. So that's kind of an ongoing thing year round.
A lot of work goes into that. There's a lot to it.
Yes. There's checking the rails, checking the ties, making sure the switches are working properly, and so it's regular maintenance for them. And of course, you don't see it up here in Titusville, but you go down into the park. There's areas where, throughout the year, trees come down, branches come down, so they have to clear that off the tracks as well. And
do you ever, like during the course of just a run, maybe it's after a storm or something, and you approach maybe an area where a limb has fallen?
We actually approach areas where whole trees have fallen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the engine crew carries chainsaws with them.
And
so
you don't pay extra to watch them remove the tree.
It's kind of hard for the passengers to see it, but
okay.
They get the tree. I mean, it's not like they're cutting and stacking wood for winter.
Right.
They get the track, they do what they have to do to get the track cleared, and we're on our way again. It usually takes maybe 5-10 minutes, unless it's a lot of trees. But that doesn't happen very often.
So does that mean that you and the volunteers fill in that time providing information, or just everybody can kind of sit back and relax and enjoy the scenery?
Yeah, sit back, relax, enjoy the scenery. We'll, the car host will, kind of explain to them what's going on with the trees and stuff like that, and the procedures that we do.
I would imagine that would add to the experience, though, because you're going on the ride, you want to see things, and it's part of nature.
Exactly, and I'm sure you're familiar with where the land is down through the park. It doesn't even have to be storming for a tree to fall. If the soil gives way along the bank, the tree's going to fall, whether it's windy or rainy or whatever.
Yeah. Now the question is, if a tree falls in the middle of the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound?
I have yet to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you do, let us know.
Yeah, I'll be glad to do that.
How much work goes into preparing for, like, tomorrow's event?
Well, like earlier this week, we took a test run. I don't know if you saw the passenger cars going down through the city, but we got our volunteers together. We went through some of the procedures for this, just to kind of a refresher. You know, everybody knows what they're doing, fortunately. But we took the train down to Miller Farm, and just to make sure that everything on the train was functioning properly and everything, and then brought it back up. Of course, some cleaning of things, getting the station ready to go, different things like that, and we should be ready to go.
Is there like with the volunteers, when they hear that an event like this is sold out, or the first murder mystery is sold out, is there that sense of, oh, this is special?
Yeah, it's, fortunately the special events, we do tend to sell those out. We have, we've been very lucky in the past year or so that we haven't had a poor showing in our special events. They all seem to sell out, and there's a little bit of pride in that we're able to get that done. And even during the regular events, a regular season, you get a train with 250, 300 people on a Saturday, and it makes you feel good that everybody's coming out to do that.
Yeah. And maybe let people know if they want to get their tickets for events or see the events that are coming up, they can go to the website.
Yes. Yeah. OC&TRR.org is the website. And you have to call the office to make reservations. We don't do online booking. You actually get to speak to somebody, and that way it's nice to ask questions. If you have questions, you got the person right on the phone to ask right then instead of wondering what's going on.
We had our friends from Drakewell on, and they said like school tours, booked up like that. Do a lot of schools try to tie in the train ride?
Yes. Typically, well, not typically, but I'm going to say most of them, they'll do the tour at Drakewell, and then we'll come down with the train and pick them up, and let them travel. Go through the train history and stuff with them, drop them back off at Drakewell, and then go home from there.
And I guess going back to the schedule on the website, you can check out the regular season schedule. You can check out the special events, but the school tours aren't listed there because they're
school tours.
School tours,
exactly.
They're special. You can't sign up to join them.
Yeah, that's usually the school tours are usually booked in the previous season. So a lot of the schools that are coming on the train this year, they made the arrangements last fall, so that obviously with their scheduling and everything, they have to have the field trips planned way ahead so they can release a schedule for the parents.
Just looking over the special events throughout the summer and into fall. I mean, there's so many. You mentioned Mother's Day, the wine tastings. That's been very popular. Murder mystery dinners, obviously very popular. Father's Day, Veterans Military, Christmas in July, Tiki Train, which you talked about, speeder rides, which are very busy.
They're sold out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and they're in August.
Yeah.
That's another one that they sell out quickly. I mean, for the speeder rides, if anyone's interested, they can call and get on the wait list. It's kind of tricky with the speeders because we don't know how many speeders are going to show up. So it's later in this. We have a dedicated amount right now, and we've obviously sold the tickets for them. But then we put a wait list together in case there are more added throughout the year. The speeders are actually, they're individuals who, they're not part of the railroad or anything like that. They just travel around. So it's hard to say with their schedules which ones are coming and which ones aren't.
Yeah, and it's even listed wait list only.
Yes.
So if you're even thinking about it, you should get on the wait list.
That's correct.
Okay. Taps on Tracks, Grandparents' Day Special, of course, all the fall foliage rides, Halloween train, Santa train. There's so much going on this year.
Yes, and the tickets are on sale now for the whole season. If you're thinking about the fall or Christmas time, you can buy the tickets now. And I've talked to a few people. They've made the mistake. Like for the Easter train, they thought they needed to wait till it's closer to the event. And I said, no, you get them now. And so then they talk about the wine train, and I explained to them, well, if it's the wine train in August, go ahead and buy your tickets now. Don't wait, and that way you don't have to worry about them being sold out.
Because I'm sure you've gotten phone calls. Hey, I called you a few months ago. I'd like to get those tickets now. I'm really sorry, but we're
That
sold
happens.
out.
Yeah, that does
What?
happen. Yes.
Get them now. You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream Television and on Armstrong's Neighborhood Channel. Todd Crago with us here this morning from the OC&T Railroad. So those are special events that we're talking about, but the regular season rides begin on June 8th. What does that mean? Yeah, this is June 8th?
Okay.
Okay.
I was thinking, I had 10 in my mind, but you've got it right in front of you, so that's
Well, yeah. Okay. Around the 8th. So talk about that, because you kind of ease into it with the regular season rides in June, but they pick up in July?
Yes.
With additional?
In July, we add Wednesday rides as well. So June is Saturdays and Sundays. Then in July, we do Wednesdays, Saturday, and Sundays. And then I think the first 2 weeks in August, we'll do that as well, before we go back to just Saturdays and Sundays again. And the Wednesday rides, usually they have the Coal Oil Johnny House open at Rin Farm, so you can get on the train, ride down. They'll have a little 5-minute tour, or let you walk through the Coal Oil Johnny House. It's at the Rin Farm station. See a little bit of that history. And they only, like I said, they do that on Wednesdays when we're running. Another thing that people can add to their train trip is the Petroleum Center tours. We have select dates where you get on the train, ride down to Petroleum Center, you get off the train, do a tour while the train continues on down to Rin Farm, comes back, picks you back up, and brings you home again.
And there's all sorts of variety in terms of ticket prices. First class, coach, they've got family specials,
Yes.
even group rates. So if you're like, boy, maybe I want to do a company outing, or maybe we're having a reunion or whatever.
Exactly. And you can, we also do the renting a car or renting the train. Of course, that needs to be scheduled in advance. You can't just call up and say, hey, we want to do this weekend. It takes some planning. But like last year, we had a church group that actually chartered the whole train for their Christmas celebration.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so
that's really cool.
We had a good time with that.
So there's an idea for a company.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or like you said, even just charter just a car. And one other thing that we don't push too much, but I realize that probably should, if you're a parent that has a small child who's not sure that they can handle a 3-hour train ride, we have what's called a short run, where you get on in Petroleum Center, ride down to Rin Farm. You're there for 20 minutes, you come back and get off Petroleum Center. The total trip is about just under an hour, I would say. That way, if you have a small child that you don't think can sit for a whole train ride like that, they might introduce them to it that way.
There's some adults I don't know if could sit that
That's
long.
true as well.
So the other thing is, which is really cool, you can bring your bicycle, kayak.
Bicycles and kayaks as well.
Canoe?
Yes. We've had canoes,
Wow.
yes. So we either pick you up at Petroleum Center and bring you back to your car at Drake Well, or pick you up at Petroleum Center and drop you off at Drake Well, and you can go back downstream to your car. And bikes are the same way. We've had bikes either start here at Drake Well, or start here at Perry Street and go down to Petroleum Center, or they start at Drake Well. Either way, we can pick them up and take them.
How much work goes into just preparing for the season, and how much time do the volunteers need to have in terms of like the training? If somebody came to you today and said, boy, you know what, I think I would like to volunteer this summer, there's time to get them trained?
Yes, there is time to get them trained. Actually, we had a couple volunteers last year that came in the day of, and we put them right into the fire, and they did fantastic. It was it wasn't, of course, anything too complicated for them. Just
because if they weren't good, you could just leave them off down at Rin Farm
absolutely,
or whatever,
yeah,
and
they can
make them walk back.
They can walk back, get an Uber, whatever it takes.
Okay,
Yeah,
just checking.
yeah. But no, the training for the volunteers, it's not too intensive. It's a lot. We like to have them ride to make sure see how the volunteers on the train work and everything like that. And And sometimes volunteers just want to volunteer in the station. They don't, they want to do concessions, or they want to do the gift shop, or just, help people around, which is fine as well.
It's important to like people. It's important to
That
like
does,
trains, right?
Yeah, that does
It
play
helps.
into a little bit. If you don't like people, maybe volunteering for us is not the quite.
Or maybe they're better tasked at the maintenance side of it, right?
Yes, that's the other side. If you don't want to deal with the people, but you'd like to turn wrenches and screwdrivers, things like that, then yes, we have plenty of maintenance projects to do that we can have people volunteer for.
Is there anything you worked on in the off season you're excited to see get put into use this season?
Not this off season. Like I had said last time, we did roofs this year over the season, so it'll be nice to make sure that the roofs aren't leaking on the
Yeah.
heavy rainstorms. That'll be exciting. But yeah, we had.
So if you're riding the train, you see Todd walking up and down, and he's just looking up at the ceiling.
Yeah.
He's not ignoring you.
I'm not praying.
He's just
I'm
he's making sure that the roof's not leaking.
Exactly. But yeah, that was the big thing over this off season. So
Would people be surprised at the amount of restoration and attention the cars receive, the tracks? I mean, just all the working elements to what's supposed to take place to make a season successful.
yeah, if they take the time to look, they would be really, they'd see that there's a lot of stuff that goes into keeping these old cars going.
And then, if you're looking for a place to stay, a unique opportunity would be the Caboose Motel.
Yes, the Caboose Motel right across the parking lot, so there's no commute between the train and the hotel. And 21 cars available, all 21 cabooses, I should say, available. And yeah, it's a great experience. As a matter of fact, there's a few times in the year when I have back-to-back train rides where I'll actually stay at the caboose rather than going home. If I get done at 11 o'clock at night and have to be back down here at 8 o'clock in the morning, I might just go across the parking lot and stay there.
And that probably happens quite a bit because there's so much that
There's
takes place.
There's 2 or 3 weekends in the summer where yes, I will do that.
Wow.
Because I just work so late before I have to be back down early.
So there's a lot coming up, even though when Todd says regular season kicks off in June, there's a lot going on between now and June.
Yes.
And if you're even thinking about it, you might want to call and buy your tickets because they'll be sold out probably fairly quickly.
That's correct. Well, that's like I said, the first murder mystery is in May, and it is sold out already.
Wow. And again, just to kind of highlight a week from now, wine tasting, right?
Wine tasting with Star Hill Winery Friday evening. Must be 21, and of course, tickets that's definitely, you have to purchase your tickets in advance. We do not sell those at the door.
Todd, good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too.
Have fun tomorrow.
Looking forward to having you volunteer on the train for us.
Hippity hoppity.
There you go.
Sold out the moment that schedule was released.
Yep.
That's great, though. All right. See you next month.
You betcha.